The inspiration for Pulse Invasion was actually watching all these like Dateline shows about sexual predators that come online and try to lure young girls into dangerous encounters. And it seemed like the perfect avenue for bringing a different kind of threat over the internet. That this girl meets somebody online who is the answer to everything that an adolescent alienated young girl would be looking for. And we follow her into this trap, knowing she's probably going to be finding something really, really terrible at the end of that road.
My name is Ermanno Di Febo Orsini. It's a long name to spell, but it's E-R-M-A-N-N-O. And let's say the last name is just O-R-S-I-N-I for easy. For the art department, the challenge about the Pulse trilogy at this point, it's more to create a climate of future and past mixed together. And also the fact that some of the colors, some of the pattern are created in a way to enhance the fluidity of the situation and the narrative. We have a lot of reflecting surfaces. The red is a predominant primary color because of the red tape that keeps them out, and we avoided primary colors everywhere else. Everything is muted, and altogether is a highly stylized with no style at all. That's the final result.
One of my favorite moments is where we meet a couple that is having a very committed relationship that's been going on for the better part of a year. They do everything together, they're inseparable, they eat together, they sleep together, they play games together, they watch movies together, they make love together, and they've never physically met. And to me, that is one of the core essentials of these movies, is to really understand what relationships have become in the age of 24/7 communications.
Just let me go! You don't need me for this!
Oh, I think I might. Because they do get hungry.
One of the major set pieces in Invasion is when Thomas Meredith, who plays a farmer called Wilkie, entraps the young Justine, played by Brittany Finnemore, in his bedroom. And the weird interplay between the two of them, where you think that this is going to be some sort of a sexual encounter, when in fact it's about a bereaved husband who is merely trying to use this girl and her last existing computer to call forth his own dead wife.
Don't you understand? I love my wife.
And so in all this sort of predatory nature of the scene, there's this kind of real sweetness to Thomas. He's this big, powerful presence, and yet can't help but being sympathetic for him, especially when his wife does finally appear, and instead of embracing him as a long-lost love, she basically rips his soul out and devours it. For us, for myself, for Kevin O'Neill, our visual effects supervisor, and for Gary Tunnicliffe on the makeup effects side, it was a real challenge, because Diane Goldner, who plays Mrs. Wilkie, has got to bite down on the barrel of a gun and blow the top of her head off. We actually get to see this, for those who want to see it. And it's very graphically and gruesomely done. The entire top of her skull is blown away, which is done with a head mannequin that Gary Tunnicliffe created, which will be motion tracked and comped onto the real actress's head with Kevin O'Neill's digital artistry. And we will see seamlessly this woman blow the top of her head off, all the brains go flying. You see the cavity of her head as she slumps to the floor, flickers awake, clambers back upright, and comes forward and starts moving toward Wilkie. The process that this took to accomplish was exasperating, but I think in the end it's going to be really, really fun.
Got it.
Fun shouldn't be the word for that. Disgusting.
No smiling.
There's a lot more of a lucid conversation between people like myself and Gary these days, because our two individual approaches to dealing with effects are intertwined now in such a way that Gary often is doing design work in a computer, then making tangible objects that we can have on the set that directors and actors can work with, and we can photograph with a certain amount of natural light that I can then still take and manipulate and modify in the computer. And that is a real sign of where things are going, and I think that's going to probably be even more the case in the future, where you'll see the sort of synergy between really elaborate and design-oriented effects houses, special makeup effects houses, and design-oriented boutique operations that are handling visual effects production.
I started Neo Art and Logic with Mike Leahy about 15 years ago. He and I have been partners through easily 30 feature films at this point. Mike has some of the strongest persuasive powers I've seen in any reasonably human being. He can charm people into going beyond their own limits, which I think for a producer is the next best thing to having money.
We are in the process of shooting some shots that are going to frighten you. Poor Courtney, we've locked her in this red room. I don't know if you can see her, but she's not coming out until she acts better.
Mike is one of those deceptive producers that is so friendly that you forget that he's a real shark.
You know what? We could charge like $1 to walk in here and look in there at you. I'll split it 50-50.
Our movie takes place in the post-apocalyptic future, and there have been so many movies done on that subject that I find that I'm constantly looking for just little angles that help sell the bigger picture to the audience. And one of those discoveries was a guy named Robert Gibson, who's this blues man that we brought in just to be kind of a guy in this refugee camp, pounding out a little Delta blues riff and sort of giving a little texture to the film. It turns out, as luck would have it, he only plays with one string, because all the other 5 strings broke over time, and he just got very, very good on that one remaining string. And if anything embodied the apocalypse to me, it was having only one string left on your guitar.
Looking for someone, but it ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen today.
There was a real uplift in just watching him play and knowing that, this probably in some way reflects the reality of this guy's life. I mean, he's one of the displaced Hurricane Katrina guys from New Orleans who came up here to Shreveport looking for work and trying to reestablish himself, and in a way that sort of inspires the bigger picture that we're trying to make.